I get kicked. I'm like spinning. I don't hear nothing. It's live. Are we live? Fuck.
Yes.
What's going on? Thought we were starting the show off with that.
Sharpie, you're mute.
Hello. All right. I don't know how I got muted there, guys. As I pressed a button, I guess, and Jesus hates me. But there's no need, guys, for an intro song today when one of my favorite guys in the WWE today has passed away. Way too fucking young, guys. 3 years born, less than I was. So kind of fucking hits differently. This show is in honor of Wyndham Rotunda, otherwise known as Bray Wyatt, the inventor of the Firefly Funhouse, the leader of the Wyatt family who leaves his spirit with his 2 children and millions of fans like me. As it's not a coincidence that on Fridays I am joined by Spin Doc Sports, where we normally have an NWO background this day, as we both are big fans of the wrestling entertainment business. And they just lost the best thing wrestling has had in a long time. How you doing, my guy? I know this is a little sad, but just wouldn't feel right talking
It sucks.
today.
Yeah. Just going to share. I was glad that I got to introduce my son to Bray, because we were fortunate enough to get tickets to the last pay-per-view that was here in the Twin Cities. Was when he faced off against, it was a couple of years ago, when he faced off against The Miz, and this was when he was doing Firefly Funhouse, and it was funny because my son looked at me and he was just like, when he first saw the whole thing, he looked at me and he goes, "This is freaking weird." He goes, "But I like it." He goes, that dude's really good. I'm like, yes, he is quite good. And I'm like, you gotta watch the old Wyatt family intros, man, with the lantern and the "we're here." That's classic.
Man, I missed a lot of when he was with the the Wyatt Family Foundation, and I went back and watched so much of that like years ago, and was just in awe. There's what he did on the mic, how he made you believe. It's just, you don't get that nowadays, guys. You just don't. Yes, it's fake, but he made you believe it was real. And man,
and a guy that was that big and that stocky should not have been able to do the athletic shit that he did, whether it be from the top rope or like the spider walk thing with Cena. Like, all that stuff was just like, a guy that big and that beefy should not have been able to do that, but he could easily.
Yeah, hopefully they carry something along with him with Bo Dallas, as they were trying to work him in as the next part of what they were doing with Bray, but now Bo's got to go deal with real shit. So let's talk about some baseball, fellas, as this show is sponsored by W. It's a clean energy powder with no come down to your day. And by scanning the QR code on screen, you can get 10% off your first order by using the best promo code on God's green earth. Pub Sports, that is. If you haven't already, do me a favor and smash that like button. Make sure you have them notification bells on, and I will read out the best bets at the end of the show in the chat. Just make sure you do hashtag We Be Pubbin', or put any questions you have for us. Time consuming, we will get to them at the end. On the show, guys, we will talk the first line that opened up on a K-prop, also the best line available 30 minutes prior to the show. Then we will see where the value lies between the books and PrizePicks. Of course, the show is sponsored by PrizePicks, so if you haven't, go over there and use that promo code PubSports, and you're going to get a match deposit on your first deposit up to 100, minimum 25. Pitcher number 1 today, guys, is 39 in the black book. Zac Eflin versus the Yankees, striking people out this year 25% of the time while walking people. What may be best in the league, 3.5%. Morning line was 6+, -152 on FanDuel. We're the only -150 available now on MGM or due to the Gills or to the next up. PrizePicks has him at a flat 6, whereas hits allowed on PrizePicks are under over 5. Projected lineup 8 righties, 1 lefties. What you got on Eflonius?
Yeah, so for this one, for me, this is an over or nothing spot from how I see it here. Looking at his innings prop, he's projected to go 6, which means around 1K per inning. He's been doing that and then some at home. So the other thing that I look at here is you talked about the walk percentage, Sharpie, and the one thing, even despite their just complete falling off the map from a playoff perspective, that the Yankees still do is they are still one of the most patient teams in the league. Only a 24.7 swing rate outside of the zone the last 30 days. That is the lowest in baseball. That's actually the lowest in baseball by a considerable margin, almost 1 full percentage point, which over the course of 1,000 plate appearances is a lot. This has been pretty consistent for the whole year. The problem that the Yankees are going to have tonight is that Eflin hits the strike zone, man. 65.3% first strike percentage. He's in the top third of that for all pitchers, and has a lifetime 29.3% K percentage against this lineup. So, I'm not crazy about the juice at minus 155. I'm not sure that I would play that straight up. I'd probably look to maybe parlay that to take it with a little bit something different. But this line looks to be relatively set correctly. I think it's probably juiced pretty correctly as well. And a number of the Yankees hitters have had issues this year with a number of Yankees hitters this year have had problems with the breaking ball, especially the ones that are going to be in the lineup or projected to be in the lineup tonight. So you have Aaron Judge, you have Harrison Bader, you have Volpe, you have Peraza. All these guys have a whiff percentage against breaking balls of 35% or higher, and there might even be a few more. So if this is the lineup that they're going to go for, I think that Eflin, especially lately, has been throwing both his cutter and, well, it's more of his cutter to righties, well enough where he can get a number of 2-strike counts, which is where statistically the Yankees have not been good. They're much, much better when they're able to wait pitchers out. But for a guy that throws 2/3 of his pitches, his first pitches for strikes, and only walks 3% of guys at home, that's probably not going to happen tonight. I don't know if there's an umpire in the league, even like a Bill Miller, that is going to let the Yankees just take pitch after pitch and have them get ahead in the count for how many strikes Eflin throws. So I think if you're going to play this one, you're looking over. Not really interested in much else for that. How about you?
Hopefully I'm getting better with my internet, as it's being really janky, and I know I paid my bill, so hopefully it's not cutting out like it was, as it did disconnect me. So maybe I'm connected again. Zac Eflin versus the Yankees, and when we look at the Yankees numbers over their last 15 days versus right-handed pitching, oof. And oof may be an understatement.
Ain't good.
They're just bad, guys. As the only good thing they have been good at is walking, but once again, you're facing the one pitcher in the league who's the best at not walking people. So, yeah, I guess there's the first one. As in, guys, they're bottom 5 in isolated power, second in the league when it comes to striking out, a little over 29% of their plate appearances, as this will now be the 3rd time seeing the Yankees this year. We're back on May 14th. Eflin went 6 innings, 4 earned runs with 9 punch-outs, as well as on August 1st, he went 6 innings, no run ball with only 5 strikeouts. And when we look at Eflin's win percentage to the 5.5, it's only 40% of his last 10 games, which would normally equate to plus money. Yet, due to the past history my boy just talked about and the way the Yankees are playing, we get some mass juice, if not a number that's now have moved up. And it's simple to me to run Eflin, guys. The K percentage is a bonus. It's just whiff. Give me a team who whiffs. And yeah, last week he fell short versus the Angels, but nothing short to what he was doing, as his team gave him a 14-run lead on a 74 pitch count after 6 innings. They weren't sending his ass back out there, pitch count or not, guys. So, shit happens. That's baseball. And when I look through the projected Yankees lineup, and they only have 2 batters that are league average or better when it comes to whiff percentage, guys. And that's just music to my ears. Granted, the 2 tough ones are batting 1st and 3rd. he should be out there long enough to hit this over, guys, as the Yankees just ain't been hitting anyone these days from the right-handed side of the bump. So the lean is the over, as I do have no bets in on this game right now, as I do want the lineup and I do want to make sure that they are whiffing, as I will take them to that 6.5 for like a half unit bet on the plus money. I'm not paying up that type of juice. I just don't care. I will pay up some type of juice for somebody later on. But, yeah, it ain't the third time seeing this team either. Now, the other side of this, guys, we're not going to break down Garrett Cole for the Rays for the 4th time this year. As by the numbers, they are crushing the ball, and he has great past history versus them. So I don't like these divisional matchups where they're seeing them 3, 4, 5 times. It's just been bad business for overs, guys. It just has. Even when it says it's going to be good, just ain't been good for me betting them overs lately. So you got anything to touch on Garrett Cole?
No, strong lean on the under for Garrett Cole. Nothing I'm going to personally put $1 of my own behind. Same reasons that you mentioned is that he's had some really elite strikeout performances down in Tropicana. The problem here, though, is, like you mentioned, the 4th time seeing these guys. And despite the fact that the Rays are not the greatest team in the league, in fact, chase-wise, they're pretty bad. They are bottom 5 in chase rate over the last 30 days. And they have only slightly above average contact percentage when they do chase. The big thing that the Rays have done, though, is they have one of the highest swing rates inside the zone, but one of the lowest contact rates over the last 30 days. They have a 13% swinging strike rate compared to an MLB average of 11.3. Again, you factor that over 4 pitches per at bat normally, times 1,000 at bats, you can see that 1 percentage point is a huge difference. It's a massive difference. So the Rays are free swinging. My issue, though, is when you look at Cole's chase stuff over his last few starts, even over the last month, it just hasn't been there. Maybe he needs to find a new place to hide sticky shit. I don't know. But there's just clearly, he's just clearly not getting swing and miss stuff right now. So all in all, I think the line is set pretty perfectly. I think no matter what side of this one that you bet, you're going to be sweating. So that's why I'm not doing it.
All right, then let's not sweat and let's get into a spot on this show, guys, where it's coming very alarming with how much the books have been cleaning up. If you're looking towards the public play of the day, which 90% of the cappers are saying is free money, including your favorite titty capper. And on this show, it's the titty capper play of the day. We talking big Fram Diesel, guys, number 13 in the black book. Framber Valdez striking people out 24.5% of the time, while walking people 6% of the time this year. Opened up 6+ plus 115 on FanDuel, and he sat around there all day taking all the damn money they wanted until about right when lineups came out. They took in a bunch more for about 30 more minutes, and now he's at a minus 102 on FanDuel to that 5.5. PrizePicks has him at a 5, whereas hits, earned runs, and outs are not available on PrizePicks, and they rarely do that, guys. So take that into account. Projected lineup is no longer projected. It is 7 righties, 2 lefties, what they did project. What you got on Fram?
Same thing you do. This is Trap City all the way. There, all my math, all my metrics, everything. Everything says 6 or more here. In fact, one of the ways that I run it, if you're going based off first pitch strike, he actually gets closer to 7. So why do we continue to get plus money on what appears to be, quote unquote, free money? I've said this 100 times. Sharpie said this way more than me. Guys, there is no such damn thing. It doesn't exist. When I look at the now actual lineup, I see a few things. I see a few guys in this lineup, especially towards the top, that have a decently high whiff percentage against the pitches that Framber is most likely to throw. That would be Vierling, Torkelson, and well, he's a little bit further down the lineup, but Miggy. But then the rest of them, though, it's not that many. It's really not. You look at Ibanez, you look at Jake Rogers, you look at even Torkelson has a high whiff percentage against the put away pitch that Framber is most likely to throw him. That would be the curve. But the issue here, though, is that he's only striking out 18.9% of the time at home against lefties. He also has a very, very low whiff percentage in general to breaking ball pitchers. Same thing goes with Carpenter, with Short, with so many other guys in this lineup. This to me just screams trap. Like this is like they're not even trying to hide that this is a trap anymore. So there, in no world am I interested in taking the over here, simply because, Sharpie, as you have proven, and you and I have talked about a long time before you started posting it, titty capper plays don't win.
Yeah, it was disgusting with how much time it was that I had to, we had to do something about it on this show. It was like, dude, I'm sick of talking about it, seeing it, and then just like, why? So I had to bang my head on this because it's either, what do we do with the titty capper play? You either fade it or you got to let it be. And I wanted the fucking over so bad. Like I kept going back and kept going back, and I kept coming back to, I cannot be on what is the titty capper play of the day. At the end of the day, guys, he gets a second matchup with the Tigers this year, where the first time it wasn't week 2, so there were really no numbers to go off of. And Fram did Fram things. He went 7 innings, 3 earned runs with 9 punch-outs. And now when we look at the numbers over their last 200 plate appearances, they're walking middle of the pack. Their isolated power is middle of the pack, and they're striking out 25% of the time. When we get plus money on Big Fram Diesel, on a win rate to the 5.5 at 50%, that equates normally to even money before you would add in a tax or take it away. And they added in mass tax on Eflin, mass tax on Cease, mass tax on Senga. All other guys today in the same situation with a type of K percentage, except this man. This man, they kept them at plus money. Open fucking arms to the over, guys. Open. Not open arms on any other great type of situation if you're going to go look at the K percentage, guys. So I right there, had to pump the brakes, had to pump them a little bit. And then I go look at, are they really going to put in Baez? They're really going to put in Green? They're really going to put in Cabrera? Yeah, they fucking did. Yes, they are 5 through 9. And they have they've struck out at 10 of their combined 26 at-bats versus Framer. That's a chunk, guys. That's almost near 38%. I want to go over. I can't. And at the end of the day, I got to just leave it be, guys. If I cannot fade it, I got to let it be. I want the over so goddamn bad, but my money shows that if I bet it, I'm going to probably fucking lose it. So I just got to let it go. I've got other spots that don't scream fish, don't scream trap. Now, Framer wasn't a trap one other time this year. He hit it by the hook. So those who are looking to fade it, I'm going to let you know, he has hit it before. He hit it by the hook. He got 6 and 6. I forgot the last time it was, but it was supposed to be a slam dunk. And he ended up getting there. So I'm not going to say, he's not going to get 6 today. I'm just going to say it's going to be tough. It's going to be real fucking tough. And the books have wide open arms singing Kumbaya to the over. So, yeah, that's just my feelings on the titty capper.
I can't get there. I just can't. I can't reconcile when they're begging me to bet something that every public metric, and that's probably the biggest point for me. You look at all the public metrics, and what I mean by that are the metrics that the casual cappers, that
past history, percentage,
it's
the normal shit.
All says 6+, all of it, and so they're begging you to bet it, which means that I'm not giving them what they want.
No. So anything you make a small little parlay today, you put that fucker on the under with 10 other things and see if you hit, because, I don't know. I don't have the balls to go under, but I haven't had the balls to fade the fucking titty capper play of the day. And I'd have 6 wins, no losses since we started tracking it. So, yeah, maybe I should start betting it. Next guy up on the board is Dylan Cease versus the A's, number 10 in the black book. Has a 26.5 strikeout percentage on the year. We're walking people 10.5% of the time. Morning line was 8+ minus 145 on DraftKings, where the best line available was at a minus 130 to that 7.5 before the show. PrizePicks has him at a 7, whereas hits allowed under over are a 4.5. Projected lineup is 6 righties, 3 lefties. What you got on Dylan?
So this is probably going to be another pass for me too. I lean towards the over, but the 7.5, which as of not too long ago was juiced to minus 145. Innings prop appears to be right on the line. Hits are actually a little bit under what he averages. But when I look at the overall A's lineup and I look at their patience as of late, I mean, their strikeout percentage against righties last 30 days is down to 23.5. And if they do actually run 3 lefties, Cease only strikes them out 19.5% of the time. The other thing that Cease does, 81st percentile whiff rating. The A's whiff rating is at 12.8% over the last 30 days, which is significantly above the 11.3 average, but it's actually better than what they have been as of late. So when I talked about Eflin, I talked about the whiff rate, a 12.9% whiff rate versus a 12.8% whiff rate. Not that big of a difference. The big difference is that for a Garrett Cole and for a Dylan Cease is that one's at home, one's on the road, and the other, and one of them is facing somebody for the 4th time. One is seeing for the first. I mean, they're not the same. They're not the same at all. So this is something where I for sure lean on the over, but I haven't decided if I'm going to pay up the juice for it yet.
Yeah, I'm over here staring at the radar, freaking of this stupid Mets game right now, freaking out a little bit. But we're talking Dylan Cecil, so let's talk this a little Dylan Cease. Dylan Cease versus the A's for the 2nd time this year. We're back on July 1st. Cease went 5.1 innings, 3 earned runs, 3 walks, while striking out only 5. And once again, his prop was a 7.5. Where it is at today, and I've got 2 words for you books on that one. Happened to be the same 2 words for that clown in the chat the other day, and those words were made famous by the boys over on the X. So yeah, I think you know what that means. But anywho, I ain't here to chase, guys. Is what it is, guys. And he's only hit the over 6.5 at a 50% rate of his last 10, let alone 30% rate to the 7.5. And this is a spot where, like Eflin, they bumped him up in juice. Like Valdez, they didn't. And like this, they bumped him up in juice and a whole fucking strikeout, guys, as they know they're not getting no under money here, and they've got to give themselves a way of getting a win, as there's certain times they do want open-ended money. They'll take it. They're not trying to take it right here, so they're going to make you pay up and pay for it to give them a way at winning. And for that reason, I'm fucking not betting it. I'm not fucking chasing. I'm not here to say, oh, yeah, he should have. Yes, he should. But they're bumping him up because they know, man, he goes, 2 things go wrong, he don't hit that. And we need those 2 things to go wrong. And I'm just not here to fucking chase, guys, at the end of the day. So you can suck it easy for adding on a strikeout and mass juice. Just can't do it. I can't get there. Oof. Now we get into a game where I bet it at minus 149 and it's came down to a minus 122. And then I go look at the radar and it shows this rain's going to start with about 30% rain and has the ability to come up to 50% throughout the game. So if Mother Nature kicks me in the balls on this one, then so fucking be it. I can't fucking take my bet back. So yeah. Let's get to it. Kodai Senga versus the Angels, number 25 in the black book, striking people out at a 28% clip while walking people 11% of the time. Morning line was 7+ minus 150 on DK, where, like I said, it is now down to a minus 122 on FanDuel. And that's not because people are betting it because of the situation. If they are betting the under, it's due to the rain. PrizePicks has them at a 7. Hits, outs, earned run are not available on PrizePicks. Let's talk Kodai.
I mean, if the rain doesn't cancel, this is a bout of not easy as far as like it's going to win, but this is about as far as easy of an overlook as you can possibly get on here. The one thing that you do have is from a whiff perspective and from a chase contact perspective, Angels just got awful bad. They're 34.4% chase rate, which is the worst in Major League Baseball over the last 30 days. They're 15.1% swinging strike rate as a team, which is also dead last. And they also have a 64.9% first strike percentage, which is almost dead last. So you're going to give me that, and you're going to put them on the road traveling from west to east. And you're going to give me a pitcher that can throw that gross ghost fork like Senga when they can't lay off shit to begin with. Come on. This one for me, if the game holds and the game is played, I see no other way you can bet this but the over. This is one that I'm certainly going to get in on myself. Behind the plate, you have a favorable umpire as well, Jamie Rehack. His strikeout percentage is way high for an ump. The thing to look for in that though is that he's only umpired a handful of games. So not the most out of any of the crews going today, but strikeouts when he goes are 2 to 5% higher than an average umpire. Everything says over here. For me, this is one where I wouldn't even overthink it.
You're gonna have to just keep going, I guess. Sharpie had to dip out.
Oh, Sharpie's gone. Okay, I'm in the window now. All right, so definitely want the over here. On
I just circle. Am I working now? Like,
you better?
My internet has never been this bad, and I don't know why.
All right. Well, I just got done saying, over. I just listed like 10 reasons to take the overs. So I'm 100% with you on this one. This is one where I said don't overthink it.
Is my internet still being freaking cocksuckerish? Because I paid my bill. All right, because it's so hard to log in. It just circles, and people are saying I'm breaking up, and I don't get it. It's my Wi-Fi is paid, so this is like the first time ever I've had bad Wi-Fi. So maybe I need to go scream at them.
I mean, I'm sure California fucking Wi-Fi is not at top peak pace with hurricanes surrounding you and shit.
Bro, that hurricane turned into a tropical storm and was like a big old piss by God and gone in a day and was back to 95 degrees the next day. They built it up to being worse, but I guess you should be safe than sorry. Be protected. Well, I get to talk, guys. The guy that I did bet before I need the lineups coming out, and they did come out. We did get us 5 lefties, 4 righties, and yes, we did get money. Yeah, granted, he's at the end. I don't care. That's fine. Let's talk about it. Kodai Senga, I have a full unit on his over 6.5, and I did pay up on the deuce at -149. Here and why. As we know, the Angels over the last 15 days, they're not walking, hitting the ball middle of the pack in isolated power while striking out a little more than 26% of their at-bats. And like Eflin today and like Cease, they juice us on Senga if we wanted to get in. The amount of juice they did on would be considered a whole strikeout if he had more than a 40% win percentage to that 6.5. But thank God he didn't have a 50% because we would be seeing the first 7.5 probably on Senga this year. So they added in 65 cents of juice, and it came down strictly due to the rain, guys. So there really is no shady business here other than Mother Nature, as the amount of whiff and chase in this Angels lineup, and God forbid, like I said, we got money back anywhere in this lineup. This is shaping up to be a monster day for Senga. And the reason why I did move now instead of waiting for the lineups, which, yes, they are coming out, is me and Spin talk about reading the books all the time. And we've talked about it a few times on this show with a couple pitchers, Charlie Morton being the last one, where the books are begging you to bet Kodai Senga's outs over 1.5 at -152. Kodai Senga has walked 2 or more batters in 8 of his last 10 and 18 of his 22 games this year, not counting a rain out. So what? Kodai Senga doesn't walk 2 people today, guys. You could probably book him for 9 to 12. Now, when we go through his game log and we look at the teams that he faced, and he only walked 1 or less times, he faced the no-fly zone Nationals. He ended up with 7 that day. Saw the Phillies, who like the Angels, top 5 whiff and chase. He had 9 that day for the first time they seen him. The other time he had more than 1 walk, so this doesn't fall under the walks. Then he had 12, count it up. I can't even count that far in Spanish. 12 versus the Diamondbacks, guys, who throughout this year have not struck out that much. Guys, let me talk to you. So I wanted them guys before I seen the walks, and that walks right there tell me this may be a ladder spot. Now, I can't tell you to go ladder when there may be rain involved. So, dear Heavenly Father, let them just go 5 before the rain comes, because this team is penciled in for a whole lot of walking back to the dugout, in my opinion. All right.
Yep. Totally agree. Sometimes there's ones like with Framber where you see it and you're like, man, does that it's easy to overthink it because it just looks too good to be true. This is one where I get the initial juice. I get the line. I don't think that there's anything trappy about it. I think that they're just saying, hey, if you want a 6.5 on this guy, which to your point, he hasn't been many times. He has been a ton this year. Like you're going to have to pay up for it. So all that logic I get. So then all things equal, I look at what the metrics and the numbers and the situation say, and everything says up and beyond.
Especially the way you started showing me how to look at how many outs is he projected, how many hits, how many walks.
I can tell you that right now.
6, 7,
yeah,
bro.
so,
if this dude only allows 7 people on base, oh God.
Yeah.
Oh God.
So what Sharpie's talking about, so one of the things that in part of my reverse engineering of lines, so getting to that he's projected based on books and history and whatever to face 25 batters. Their lines right now are 5 hits and 2 walks. So you figure 7 guys got to get on, subtract those out. And that means for the remainder, he needs to strike them out at a 38.6% clip. And the Angels going on the road have multiple guys that get to that and then some. And then some.
And that's where I didn't read up on Framber. Framber, with his hits and his walks that they're saying he's going to give up, and the amount of time he's supposed to be out there, is going to have to strike out 40% of his batters.
Almost 50. Almost
like
50.
Wow, bro. I was like,
Almost
oh
50.
Yeah, it just ain't adding up. Just not adding up. If it don't.
Well, and that's one of the things that just for everybody, when you're reading lines, is that you got to look at stuff like that, and you got to think, okay, unless the books totally jacked up his hits or his walks or his, some other kind of prop or line, then you have to assume that that's relatively correct. And then you do the math and think, is it realistic that this guy could K with that many people in that many plate appearances? Because, I mean, unless you think it's wrong, which books innings props are not usually that far off. So unless you think that it's grossly incorrect, that's a really quick and dirty way to figure out, is it realistic to expect this kind of strikeout percentage? And Framber, yeah, it doesn't add up at all.
Yeah. So another thing, a quick touch before we go on to Bryce Miller on Framber. Guy's allowed 3 or more runs in 8 of his last 9 starts, with more of them being more than the 3-run variety. Granted, a lot of that was in the division versus teams who smack. So when I run this lineup, man, I'm going to see their isolated power. And if they're below 140, I've got to look to take his earned runs under, as I can see the strikeouts not being there, but the dude is at home. Or is he on the road? Is Framber on the road or at home? He's on the road.
Framber's on the road. Framber's in Detroit.
Fuck. Yeah. No wet ground there, bud. Okay. Well, just leave him alone. When I try to get cute and bet guys that I'm not supposed to, I lose money.
Yep.
Fucking leave him alone.
Not even touching it.
All right. I wish you the best if you are on the over, guys, but know that the titty capper play of the day is 6-0 to the fade. Next guy up is Bryce Miller versus the Royals. Striking people out 23% of the time while walking people 5%. Open them up 6+ minus 128. We're on PrizePicks. They have them at a 5.5. Hits allowed under over are at a flat 5. Where your projected lineup today for your Royals is 5 righties and 4 lefties. Let's talk Bryce Miller, the fastball thrower.
Yep. The key to anything with Bryce Miller, always, because he throws it almost 60% of the time, is how do they hit four-seam fastballs, and more specifically, how do they hit high heat with four-seam fastballs? So looking over at the Royals projected lineup, I don't necessarily agree with a few that might be in this lineup. I don't necessarily know if they're also, even though they probably should based on analytics, I don't know if they're going to move Melendez down in the lineup. If they don't, this is a look that you can actually have at the over, because Melendez, this is just against four-seam fastballs, 37.3% whiff percentage, 29.3 K percentage, and has had 25% of his strikeouts are just off of plain four-seam fastballs. The guy is very free swinging and has been towards the top of the lineup. So right now they're projected him to hit, I think, in the 6 or 7 hole or something like that. The Royals just haven't been doing that. As far as
5 hole.
What's that?
They got him in the 5 hole.
5 hole.
That's projected.
Yep. Now, as far as the rest of the Royals go, you might look at it, and if you don't, follow this stuff on a regular basis, you might think, well, that, is that an overspot because they're the Royals and they're bad. They are bad as a team, but what they're not bad at is striking out. Only 18% against righties over the last 30 days, 746 plate appearances. The young guys that they've been bringing along have been focusing a lot on contact. The other thing that I want to see here too is how many lefties do they run? Because Miller at home, actually, I guess in general, at home specifically, very, very poor K percentage against lefties, 12.6%. He just does not do a good job striking out lefties. And the Royals do have, I know what they're projected for. They're projected for 4, but they in theory could run 5 and maybe even 6 out, I think, if they wanted to. So I got to see lineups on this one. If there is an influx or an abundance of lefties in this lineup, this is probably one that I'm going to have a hard underlook at.
You just said something that wasn't in my write-up that just freaking ding, 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 then alarm, bro. You want to know why he struggles versus lefties in Seattle? Mike Trout told me this fucking a long time ago, watching Mike Trout play baseball with an earphone in his ear. And he has a 470 fucking average in Seattle Stadium. Like, the dude just mashes in Seattle. And he goes, the right-handed, from a right-handed pitcher's arm, you have a black tarp in the outfield that covers the whole background. So you get the ball, the arm, everything. Where if you go to a lefty, you've got the crowd. You've got everything else in between.
Yep.
So you're able to pick up on that ball like that. And they have a giant black tarp that covers the whole left field and then stands above it. And I was just like, bro, so that just made me alarm right there. Like, that's why they're able to just see the ball, bro. He's not hiding it.
Yep.
So, yeah, this was an original. Before my breakdown, I always like to write down my leans, whether it's under or over, and then I go from there. And if it pushes me another way, so be it. And I did lean under before I did my breakdowns on this. And like I said, I do my leans before I then do my work. As when we looked at the Royals numbers, like he said, over the last 30, they're just as good over the last 15, guys. Granted, they're not walking. They're bottom of the league when it comes to that. They're middle of the pack in isolated power. Yet they're just the best team in not striking out. Like, period. 16% of their at-bats, guys. That's nuts. That is just insane. But we talk about keys all the time on this show. And the key with me running Miller, guys, is simple, and simple as can be. It's whiff. Do you whiff? Because this guy's going to throw his fastball 60+% of the damn time, as he has one of the best spin rates in all the game. So when I went through this whole lineup, guys, there were 4 guys that were terrible in whiff. And I was like, dude, I'm going to need like 3 to get involved. And Melendez being one of them, Perez being another, with Velasquez and Drew Waters being the other. And then when I went through the lineup, we had 6 of those 9 were elite, or at least above average, at not striking out and whiffing to a fastball, specifically the four-seam fastball when I went through each batter, guys. So Velasquez does whiff. He don't whiff at a fastball, though. He whiffs at every breaking pitch in the world. But he don't whiff at a fastball, though. So Perez and Melendez, Those are two fucking guys that are struggling. That can definitely be 1+, as well as Waters. He can also be 1+. So if I bet this, it's under. I've got to have at least 3 guys or less in this lineup, preferably towards the end, that are not striking out to that fastball or whiffing to that fastball. And I think the number's sharp where it should be, guys. He's going to have to go 6 or a little above to get 6. And, man, let's just take out one of these bums today. Give him a day off, please. I like to go under. Unders have been fun.
Yeah. I've actually found value in betting unders on the Royals as well. The public certainly has not caught up with, since they've started having their younger guys at the bottom of the lineup. They are very contact focused. You have lower whiff rates for a number of them. And like I said, the books have caught up, but the public hasn't yet. So if you wait on Royals lines, especially when they're on the road, like they are tonight, you can actually get some value, because there are still some that when they bet, they like strikeouts, they equate bad teams to lots of strikeouts. For example, the Nationals suck.
I was about to say it, the Nationals.
The Nationals are a terrible team, but they don't strike out ever. So you can't make that comparison. The Royals were terrible to start the season. Ever since they made their lineup changes, have gotten exponentially better. So the Royals are closing in, and I mean this sincerely, they are closing in on being a very, very close to not even looking over anymore, to just straight up looking under, because of how well they're making contact. One last thing on that with the Royals. The reason why they're not striking out very much either is because they are second in the majors in contact on pitches inside the zone at 87.5%. They swing the most inside the zone, second most inside the zone. A quick comparison. Over the last 30 days, the Royals swing 69.2% of the time inside the zone and make contact 87.5%. The Angels swing 71.7%, so more, and they make contact over 12% less. That is why the Angels strike out and the Royals don't.
Man, to go with you, how the books and the public don't respect them, bro. They're favoring Miller on this one. Added juice and juices came in. People are betting Miller's over here, guys. It's minus 126 on FanDuel or minus 130 everywhere else. And by the win percentages, be money, and by the Royals numbers, should actually be going down. They're betting it over. They're not moving it up on their own. They don't move it up, just move it up. They'll usually sit there and take money at that line. They did Valdez. Now it's moving as the money's coming, and people are betting Miller's over here. Now, I'll be that one who comes right underneath them bitches for even money, dog, if you give me that right lineup. So I ain't afraid. At least the line's moving the way the money's going.
Yep, it's moving the right way. I just want to see I don't necessarily really care as much about the lineup makeup of the Royals. I care very much about the lineup construction, because if they're going to put Melendez and they're going to put a few of the other one,
Perez and Melendez back to back, bro.
If they're going to
two guys who could be brutal.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If they're going to do that, then I can't mess with this one.
He could end up with like 4 on them. 3 to fucking 6.
Easily.
He really can. So, yeah, I hear you, bro. You got to definitely pay attention to the way the lineup's constructed, because the guy behind him is league average but doesn't strike out the fastballs and whiff. So, you know what's going to play there. Now we're going to end the day with the best strikeout pitcher to ever walk this planet. He may be related to Nolan Ryan somehow, guys. That's how fucking good this man is. We're talking Spencer Strider at the Giants, striking people out this year at an absurd 38%, while walking people 7.5% of the time. And to boot, he just broke his fastest to 200 strikeouts in a season by beating his record from last year. Yeah, the best to ever walk the planet. Open them up 9+ minus 144 on FanDuel, where the best line available now to that 8.5 is minus 140 on BetMGM. PrizePicks has a bet at 9, whereas earned runs under over are at a 1.5. Projected lineup for Los Gigantes is 5 lefties, 4 righties. Let's talk Strider Day.
Oh man. Well, first of all, I'll just be straight up. I can't go over here. I know how juicy it might look on the surface, but this is a guy in the toughest spot that you can be in for a pitcher. I know it's Spencer Strider, but you're on a back-to-back against the same team you just faced a week ago, and you're going from home to the road. So you're flying across the country to face the same guys you just faced, and we're still getting an 8.5. That's the Spencer Strider tax, guys. If this were many, many other pitchers, you would see even high strikeout pitchers, you would see a 7.5 with juice galore to the under. I believe the Spencer Strider tax is kind of like what the Ohtani tax was to start the season, where he's always going to get one added to his total. I mean, metrically, you look at this one, and obviously this is a mismatch. The Giants are striking out 24% of the time against right-handed pitching and 700 plate appearances over the last 30 days. Star Sharpie talked about Strider's metrics. I mean, I don't need to waste airtime with what his metrics are. They're fucking elite. We know that. But my look on this one is that I don't really care who it is. With a total this high, with anything 7 or more, with a pitcher going from home to road back to back, unless he's going to face a totally different lineup. And when I mean totally different, I mean more than like 4 guys are going to be different, which it's not projected to be. I can't look over at all here. Can I take an under on the Giants against Spencer frickin' Strider? No, I don't think I can do that, but I got to be totally honest, guys. I want to bad.
Last week too, and he struck out 10 of these Giants.
So bad. But
at least I took their team total under and cashed enough with this case.
God, I want to take it.
I hear you, bro. And we end the day talking about the best strikeout pitcher to ever walk this earth. And that's Spencer Strider at the Giants for what will be his first ever back-to-back in his very short career. As he's had some back-to-back scenarios, but never a true back-to-back, guys. And my rule, if you can look over, is if they don't have a career-type day, and look under when they do have a career-type day. And he did go 7 innings, 1 hit ball, 1 hit, fuck a run, 1 hit ball while striking out 10 Giants last week. And that's just a normal day at the office for that man, sad to say. So it's not like he had a career day. So if you want, the rule doesn't apply here, guys. Now, I like to have actual data on how a guy pitches on a back-to-back, as it's now their 4th, 5th, and 6th at-bats versus this man in a very short time period. Now, the problem is, guys, that Spencer Strider don't need to change a goddamn thing from last week. It's now the Giants who need to adjust. And then Spencer Strider would have to adjust from that. Spencer Strider don't need to adjust. The bats do. These bats now have their 4th, 5th, and 6th at bats. They understand how much they're pounding that fastball. I can't do this. What they're going to strike me out with. What does he like to throw in a 2-2 count with runners on? There's just shit you just start to pick up as a baseball player, guys. And you attack them differently, whether it's swing first pitch, don't go down 0-2, put the fucking ball in play, try to go opposite field with everything. Don't try to pull 100. They're professional baseball hitters, baseball players. Granted, they've sucked ass over the last 2 weeks versus right-handers and maybe left-handers, as I didn't look at their numbers, but I cannot go over on a back-to-back that I've never seen. And yeah, just is what it is, guys. Now, I read the line a little bit differently than my guy right here, as in, if they would have put this at a 9.5, I would have went under that. Or if they would have moved it to a 7.5, I would have went under. I've seen it too many times on back-to-backs where they keep the number the same. Now, it was even money last week, and due to recency bias, this man striking out 10, only allowing 1 batter on by hit, they juice it. And it should still be even money. It doesn't. If he would have got shelled and his ass kicked, we still get an 8.5 even money. Whether or not he had 13, we probably get the same type of bet. As in recency bias, how does he not get fucking 10 when he just got 13? Because it's baseball, motherfuckers. It's baseball. And yes, he is the best to ever do it. I'm not fucking tempting fate, guys. And I'm not doing it. So it is what it is. Spencer Strider's on his first ever back-to-back. And I need 3 at bats, 3 batters. You know, he says he needs 4. We all have our own rules. You want to give me 3 different at bats batters than what seen Spencer Strider last week? I don't fucking care where they're at in the lineups, as they're not hitting that well enough to where he should go 6 innings. And yeah, but I'm gonna need 3 different batters, and I doubt I get that. So it is what it is. Life's a bitch and you marry one, and you just don't bet Spencer Strider today. It's fine. It's fine. It's not like he hasn't taken a bunch of money from me anyways.
Yeah, I think you got to just stay off of it.
Yeah, that's just the way. I mean, I played the team total under last time, and I just have this something in my stomach, something in some of the lines. I think this game's going over, bro. 7.5, bro. Like Webb's projected to give up what, 8, 9 at batters on base. Strider's a -150. This guy's going to give up 2, 3 himself. They're saying Strider's giving up some today. That's what that's telling me. So I don't know. Back-to-backs are real, so we're about to find out. You know, good pitching does beat good hitting, so it would be hard for me to go under versus the Giants and under with the greatest guy to ever walk the God's green earth, striking people out. So that would be one I wouldn't bet personally, where other ones I would put on tickets and not tell people. Life's a bitch, you know? But, yeah. I'm going to run through the chat, guys. If you have any people we would like to touch on or your best bets, make sure you do put in the chat. We be pubbing, hashtag to your best bet, and we will get to it. Justin's always up in here. He's got himself some Danzy Swanspin over 1.5 bases at +106. And, yeah, good to see you up in here, Nutflush and Sam. Always a pleasure, my guys. Let's keep the money rolling in. Sorry, guys, once again, about my terrible internet connection at the beginning. I promised I wasn't running anything illegal in the background. You know, Pornhub's free, you know, right? Then we head into Rocco Rogers' best bet. Mookie Betts over 1.5 bases. That might be the titty capper play of the day on the hitting side, but you can't fade it, as this guy is the hottest hitter walking the planet right now, guys. And a shout out to Rocco, who did give out the 1.5, the stolen base. He cleaned up versus Noah Syndergaard. Shout out to freaking Toad Miggins, guys, as it is, like he says, it's Harper Day, and he's been running Harper over 1.5 when he's supposed to run it over 1.5. And that's every fucking day until he cools off, guys. As in the hitting prop game, you ride him while it's hot. Baseball's like a roller coaster. You go up and down and up and down. Hence why I track 15 days, why I track 200 plate appearances. It goes up and down. And when a hitter's hot, you fucking ride him, guys, in the hitting prop market, guys. You don't just pick when he's going to hit. You play him day in and day out, and he's going to hit for you 7 out of 10. And that's a great bet. But the hitting prop market isn't picking your spots. It's riding them spots, guys. And if you want some hitting prop type shit, the books are saying, as my boy told me this morning, Nicholas going to get touched today, guys. And touched in a bad way, as he's due to give up. They got his earned runs at 3, his hits at like 8.
7 or 8. God.
Yeah. This guy's in for a due problem, the books are saying. So if you're looking at DraftKings, FanDuel type lineups, I look at a Philly stack today, guys, because yeah, let's get to it, guys. So Cover Kings is on Lance Lynn over 5.5 strikeouts at +105, and Brandon Woodruff over 6.5 at +104, as he's looking for a spectacular Strider tonight. Man, I was going to smack that under 6.5 on Lynn last night. Woke up to a 5.5, and I don't know if he gets himself personally 5 tonight, as he's had some really good matchups since he's been a Dodger. Let's just put it that way. And the one tough matchup he had was versus the Padres, and they clapped him. So I do expect the Lance Lynn to come back down to earth tonight versus a very solid right-handed hitting. Plus Turner back home, Red Sox team. And, man, something I looked on Woodruff as well is, he's been all or nothing, bro. So it's either like you want to look to ladder him or just stay the fucking way and take him under, as he's 2-3 to the over 6.5, where those other 3 games he didn't even get 5 or more. So this guy's all or nothing. And I'm looking at Woodruff's outs personally as there's a lot of history in that lineup where they're not hitting this man. So that way I take away the strikeouts. I don't got to worry about what he does, as in I'll just go out there and do what you've done, and that's shut down the Padres. So I'll be looking at Woodruff, but not his strikeouts personally.
Yeah, for Woodruff, I'm still actually deciding on it, to be honest with you. The line itself, given the Padres' ultra high contact and ultra low strikeout rate, man, that one, and also that over his lifetime, Woodruff only has a 23.8% strikeout percentage against this lineup. When you run that math that we talked about before, with hits and walks, he would need to hit damn near 45%. That, on the surface, it looks like free money, doesn't it? With a team like the Padres. And that's why we don't bet that side of it, because it looks too good to be true. I do think that even though the public doesn't bet many unders or isn't on unders very often, I think that teams like the Padres, teams like the Blue Jays, teams like the Dodgers, sometimes teams that take on a lot of public money can get some tail steam on strikeout props like this. So there might be some public steam on the under. I have not decided if I want to take a small shot on an over here, just because of how little the Padres strike out on the road. At home doesn't really make a difference, and against right-handed pitchers.
Yep, sir. We've got a question from Young Vaughn. What do we think about Garrett's under 17.5 outs? I'll let you speak first on that.
I think it's set pretty actually, I think all of Braxton's stuff is set pretty accurately, to be honest with you. So out on it personally. If you gave me a lean with his earned runs and innings and stuff, I would probably lean slightly under, but it would be a guess.
Yeah, Braxton Garrett to me today was he was they put everything correct with him today. That's the way I would say. They put his strikeouts at 4.5 because Sale, Rodon, and everybody else have been smacked to the under, and the books understand that. Now I could see him getting anywhere from 3 to 6 strikeouts. And this team swings way too much first pitch, bro. That if he's on, he's going 6 innings. This is one of the guys that they do need to go 6 innings, as a lot of guys are on innings projections over there. They've already passed their innings pitched. Braxton is one of the few that hasn't. So he's got innings to eat, and if he's humming, they're going to send him out there. So I lean his strikeouts under, but I think it's right. I could see the dead 5, where I actually think the man does go 6 innings today. So I would like to project a guy to go 7 if I'm playing his outs, and they're not sending him back out there after 6, in my opinion. So you're playing with a half an out advantage, because they probably never let this guy go over 6.1 other than 2 games this year.
Yep.
So it's just, yeah. So I don't know. I wouldn't go over, but I think he's correct, bro. I know that's probably the most lamest fucking answer ever to be said, but I think they put him right on
No,
everything.
they did. No, hey. I mean, obviously the normal theme show for this song is "Fuck the Bookies," and that's what we're all about here, fucking them in the eye hole, et cetera, et cetera. But look, these guys are not multi-billion-dollar corporations in industry because they set lines incorrectly. So I think sometimes you just got to call it like you see it, and you just got to tip your hat to the books and say, you know what, you set this one correctly, good for you. But guess what? There's every team in Major League Baseball is playing tonight. There's a bazillion things to bet on. So you just move on to the next one. It's honestly not a big deal.
It is what it is. And the last best bet was dropped in by our boy Ed, talking about Crawford over 1.5. Is that hits? Over 1.5 HHR? I don't know what that means. Minus 120 at DraftKings. Is that, I don't know what that hits, runs, RBIs? Nope. Duh. I'm thinking over 1.5 bases, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm not. But Cover Kings, you should probably get 5 lefties, I expect, anywhere from 4 to 5 in that Padres lineup. That's their normal everyday lineup. Definitely. I was definitely looking at Woodruff for sure, but I think I'm going to go with outs this way, or Padres team total under, as God, dude, the Padres suck. So as it's Friday, guys, we will see you Monday. This show, guys, was in honor of the best WWE entertainer that was going over the last 5 to 10 years. our boy Bray Wyatt, otherwise known by his government name. We won't say because it's Bray fucking Wyatt, guys. This is the Firefly Funhouse edition of the Balking Dead. And of course, I wouldn't rather have it without my boy Spin Doc Sports. Spin, tell them what you got going on, where they can find you.
For sure. At Spin Doc Sports. I've actually been running a bunch of stuff, a bunch of free content for fantasy football. So you can find the recordings of that out. So far, I have the AFC East, AFC North completely broken down from a fantasy perspective, every relevant player, where they're at for average draft position, and what I think from a value perspective about should you draft them, yes or no. I'm going to be doing more content about most common mistakes people make in fantasy drafts. For those that don't know me, I have played high dollar, meaning like 200, 250 and above, lately way more above, fantasy football leagues for over 20 years. And it's something that probably as much or more than K-props I eat, sleep, and breathe. So right now, I'm fully in the thick of it. Actually, my 3 big money leagues, I actually have their drafts next week on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, back to back to back. So I actually prefer it that way because it keeps the information fresh in your head.
Yes. And I always like my drafts after the preseason. That way, any injuries that happened are done and over with, because draft Jordy Nelson before he breaks his leg, and you'll do that.
Yep. I remember
that was the last
year
I drafted before fucking preseason, bro. I was so upset. That was like my second pick that year, bro. Oh my God.
I actually am in all now. I'm exclusively in dynasty leagues. I still do mock drafts with single season leagues just so I can keep up on that and keep up on what people are doing for tendencies. But all the high dollar value leagues that I'm in are keeper, dynasty, auction, salary cap, trades, draft picks, like all that shit. Thankfully, I found a group of people, 3 groups of people that want to be very, very involved. So, yeah. And also for any of you that are thinking about doing a dynasty league or participating in one, if you ever get the chance to play in an Emperor Pot League, you need to play in an Emperor League. For those that don't know what an Emperor League is that everybody puts in your 500 to the league, whatever, and 450 or 400 goes to that season's pot. 100 per team gets put aside to the Emperor Pot. When one team wins the league twice in a row, 2 years in a row, they get the whole thing. And if nobody wins, it just keeps rolling over. So in one that I'm in, our Emperor Pot is just a shade over $5,000.
That's a nice
fun.
little chunk. That's a nice
fun to play
chunk.
For. Yeah.
The last few best bets, Justin, I read yours out first, but just in case, Swanson over 1.5 bases. There you go. Yeah. And Ed was hits, runs, RBIs. I thought so. Cover Kings is talking about his best bet is 8 on under 15.5 outs, as well as naming some really good food that you made me hungry with. So screw off for that. And it's time to go eat, fellas, because I want a windy single plane. Now, give me a double. Crispy onions with barbecue, please. So until next time, guys, I'm Sharpie's Bets. This show is sponsored by PrizePicks. If you haven't, go on over there. Use that promo code PubSports. You're going to get a match deposit up to $100 on your first deposit. Today's special guest was Spin Doc Sports and produced by the best producer to ever walk on green earth, Big Show Picks, who's also going to drop a link in the chat for this week's UFC talk with Billy Briz, MMA Locker Room, and the man, the myth, the legend, Big Show, soon to be Daddy Big Show Picks. So go do us a favor, do yourself a favor, smash that like button, listen to it while you're fucking mowing the lawn, make a little extra cash, and support the boys over at Pub. Until next time, stay blessed, fellas, and let's keep making monies.